Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Infield Report. My name is Isaac alongside my older brother, Tyler.
How's it going?
We're back here a couple days late. Blame the late racing that happened in Atlanta. I was actually on site there and it was incredible. Just, I wish it was a little bit, the checkered flag waved a little bit earlier, but nonetheless, can't complain about it. It was a fun experience for me being down there. But we can't ignore the truck series that was up in Connecticut either at Lime Rock. They had a fantastic race as well with a surprise winner that we'll dive into in a minute. But yeah, it was a good weekend for racing overall. I think you know the Fox team did a decent job at covering the Lime Rock race. I know Fox Sports tends to get a lot of hate from NASCAR fans as far as how they cover things, but what I know you had made a comment to me at some point during the weekend because I didn't watch the race live, but you said Mike Joy was on the broadcast, right?
No, I only watched the highlights, so I don't know who was in the booth.
Fair enough. Uh, I did hear that Mike Joy was in attendance nonetheless. He is from the area up there, and him and Parker Kligerman, who was running in the race, were both very, very proud of the product that they put on, and that they were able to bring the trucks back once again. And like I said, it turned out to be a great race. From the highlight package you saw, how'd you feel like the racing went?
It looked really entertaining. I know I keep opening up with that, and I try to say NASCAR's a sport, but there was a lot of passing. There was some bumping. It wasn't too aggressive, and it wasn't boring at times like the San Diego race or St. Petersburg. It, especially when the lap times are less than a minute. It does provide, you know, more laps but less opportunities per lap to make passes. So you see people bumping each other out of the way or going for a gap that no longer exists, misquoting Ayrton Senna on purpose. But overall, it was a great race. Some unfortunate mishaps to good drivers, but with only what do we say, 3 races left in the regular season, those that are down there below the line got some work to do. And road courses actually hurt more than help.
Yeah, especially these guys that typically don't have the skill and I don't want to say skill. They don't have the finesse to drive road courses. The Truck Series has 4 races left in the regular season, and it's going to get very interesting around that cut line, like you said, for sure. We had, some interesting events that happened. Certain drivers still, unfortunately, taken out way too early. Ty Majeski and Ben Rhodes, 2 drivers that I think we mentioned last week that needed every single point that they could get, and they were involved in accidents and couldn't finish the race. That definitely hurts their point situation. But no, it was there was an interesting event that happened on lap 79. It was already under caution, I believe. You saw it better in the highlight package than I saw on social media, but Thomas Annunziata's truck just blew up. Did we ever hear what happened with that, or was it just like an engine mishap?
I think it was an engine mishap. I didn't hear anything other than they were going around under yellow, I think they were coming to the restart, and his engine just let go right before the last turn. I didn't hear anything too much about it. Sometimes sometimes those details come later. I didn't I didn't see too much of it. Might have been, something leaked or something overheated or something. 'Cause it was almost an immediate fire. When he pulled off and such. I'm glad he's okay after he was released the next day.
Yeah, there a lot of people were concerned, myself included, because he had to be, or he was not, he had to be, he was taken to a nearby hospital for further evaluation after the race. But like you said, he was released. Everything's good, especially after he had won the ARCA race up there the day before. That was, a very, very good thing for him. He was supposed to be running a an incredible looking Eminem's Kyle Busch throwback tribute scheme, and unfortunately, it was within about an hour or two of that car being posted on social media. It got pulled right after that, and I have to wonder if they jumped the gun on it before they. I mean, obviously they jumped the gun on it because they didn't get approval on it, but um, it was very, very tough to kind of be teased with a scheme like that, only to not get it. So I mean, just that, like I said, that tease of a scheme that looked really good, and I had joked, my friend Drew, who sent me the post that Nitro Motorsports had posted about it. I joked and I said, I wish I was going up to Lime Rock to see that car instead of down in Atlanta. But as soon as I went to go screenshot it again, it was gone. So you hate to see things like that. I mean, for those sorts of things, I mean, do you wanna be smarter as a social media team and wait to get approval and then, "Oh, no, this is just a scheme that never gets released?" Or do you wanna drum up the attention even if you know that it's not gonna get approved or it might not get approved?
It can be tricky because it happened, I think, 1 or 2 years ago. I think, was it last year that Kyle Larson had the Kellogg's number 5 car at Darlington, the yellow and red one? Terry Labano was saying something about he would have loved to see the colors corrected and looking more like the ones from the 90s, but there's copyright and trademark jargon loops and hoops that are there. That's probably what was happening with this as well. Yeah, jump the gun, but you are excited. You want to drum up the attention. But if it were me, I would have probably waited until, okay, it's approved. Here's all the paperwork. It's signed. Go ahead and tease something. I would have probably had a PR team with me or a PR person, to help coordinate that, but it is what it is. Hopefully they can come to an agreement and they can just reuse that post somewhere else. But, you know, tit for tat, Monday morning quarterback, what do you do?
Yeah, and I mean, it's, again, one of those things where you wish that it had gotten approved before they posted it, but again, it's tricky with those sorts of things, especially since that you have to go through probably a handful, if not more, processes just to get it approved. You would have to go through Mars and M&M. You probably would have had to go through JGR. You probably would have had to go through uh, Samantha Bush and the Bush family to get that approved. There's a ton of loops you gotta, or a ton of hoops you gotta jump through for it. But uh, nonetheless, it did drum up excitement for that race and for that car and Thomas and his run, and he ended up winning the race. So whatever momentum he was able to build and whatever confidence he had going into the weekend certainly helped, and he got the win there up at Lime Rock. So it was good to see that. It was just unfortunate to see the way that his truck day ended, especially as suddenly as it was too. I mean, like you said, just kind of a engine mishap that you don't really know what happened. I think you'd imagine Tricon took that truck back to their their shop and has probably diagnosed what happened now. By this point in time in the week, we're recording this on a Wednesday, so I would imagine by now they probably have a better understanding whether it was, something had just worn out, or um, something obviously it was something catastrophic, but you know, they probably have that idea that the culprit or the cause probably figured out by now. But either way, tough, tough, tough way to exit the day for Thomas Annunziata, since he's getting a shot in a Tricon truck nonetheless. So that's a rarity for them to have issues like that. But tough luck comes to everybody, unfortunately, and no one's immune to it. And that's just kind of the way that the racing works. Is you never know how your luck is going to fall that day. So it was kind of a tough day for Tricon overall. I mean, they their top driver, Caden Honeycutt, came in third. Looked like he had a really good shot to win it. Unfortunately for him, he did not. The man that everybody thought was going to win it, Lane Riggs, he got a stage win, but couldn't couldn't overcome some issues and finished first truck lap down way back in 23rd. But for a guy like Grant Enfinger to win a road course, what has to be going through your mind as him to say, okay, I can get it done at a road course that I'm not not known for? What kind of momentum does that build for you and confidence, for that team to be able to go to a race here in a couple weeks, this upcoming weekend at North Wilkesboro?
It is a confidence boost knowing that you have your first one in 2026, even though they're more than halfway through the year. Now you know what a winning truck feels like. Gather your team, rally the troops, go into the ovals and short tracks that is your bread and butter. You'll do just fine.
Yeah, and I think 3 of the next 4 you can classify as, well, really the next 2 are short tracks. You've got North Wilkesboro coming up this week and then IRP in a couple of weeks. So those are, half mile, under half mile or shorter. So yeah, there's a lot of opportunity for, things to go wrong, but there's also a lot of opportunity for the things to go right. And, then you've got Richmond in about a month or so. That's 3/4 mile, again, a lot of opportunities for things to go right there. And then New Hampshire as your season finale. So he's got a good couple of tracks coming up, and I think he's got a good shot to win at least another one. It's just going to take consistency. And I know this is kind of out of order from the way that we typically do things, but I'm going to jump ahead to the points a little bit because this does actually matter here. Grant Enfinger with the win now, he had 65 points on the day. That now puts him 42 points above the cut line. So he's sitting pretty decently right now going into the last 4 races. That is going to do well, that win and big points day, scoring stage points in both stages definitely helps him. Uh, Looking here, like I said, with 4 to go in the season, in the regular season, um, now he can make up a little bit on Daniel Hemrick and Ben Rhodes and Majeski. They're all within about 20 points of each other. So with these next 4 tracks, again, short tracks in the way that Ben Rhodes and Ty Majeski ran this week, which was not good, there is plenty of opportunity for, points to slip away from them and for, Grant Enfinger and Tyler Ankrum and, another driver, Stuart Friesen, to pick some up as well. We saw Stuart Friesen actually finish in the top 10 as well at Lime Rock. He was kind of close to home, being up near Canada again. And he's, again, ninth place finish for him. He didn't score any stage points, but sometimes you just need a solid finish on the day to help you. And, Stuart Friesen's only 17 points below the cut line. So, and he's jumped up a couple places now in the leaderboard. So that is definitely going to help him out as far as the opportunity to make it into the chase here as the season winds down. But again, just the Lime Rock is it, it's a hard track. Like you said, there's opportunity. You have to know where to find your passing zones, which is where a lot of the veteran drivers come in and they they do as well as they do. I mean, Colin Braun, who hasn't run in a long time either, he was driving the Ram All-Star truck this week, and he finished 10th. And he's a guy that he's a road racer. He knows how to pass, where others can't. Same with Parker Kligerman. I mean, he was doing an interview with somebody, and I can't remember who, but he was like, "Yeah, you can pass here and here and here, and if you really want to, you can pass here too if you know how to do it right." And so these guys that come in that, like I said, are veterans, they know how to navigate those tricky angles of the track to be able to find opportunities to move up and advance their position in places where a lot of people can't. So that's what makes it entertaining to see these guys come back and run truck races again. Um, Guys that don't do it very often or don't get the opportunity to, they take advantage of it. So it was really fun to watch them at Lime Rock this week, and they put on a show, and I really hope they go back next year too. Uh, what are your thoughts on Lime Rock being on the schedule here in 2026?
I love it, especially when, on iRacing you can just hop on it. It's a short track. Plenty of passing opportunities. There's just enough rights and lefts to be a challenge, but it's not a long road course. Like I said, there can be a couple of configurations that NASCAR and the Truck Series can kind of play around with. But is it turn 5, the long right-hander up the hill, almost a jump at the top of the hill? It's blind, fast. I think there's one big right-hand turn, or one big left-hand turn, and the rest are right-handed. So it's almost a reverse oval. It does provide a challenge, provides good racing, especially with the Truck Series. I think they should keep it on the schedule, but that's just me.
Yeah, I think it's a track that it should help these younger drivers, truck series drivers in particular, just hone their craft a little bit more and make sure that they fine tune and find the finesse, because it's not all about brute speed and horsepower. It's about finding those opportunities, and it does translate over to oval racing as well. And so it's you have to. There's not really a lot of guys that know how to do it right, and so again, you got guys, veterans that can do it. That like Daniel Hemrick had a great week as well, and he's a guy that's been around for a long time, just in the National Touring Series, and he finished sixth, scored stage points in both stages, and was running towards the front all day because he knows how to navigate a technical tricky course, and so that's what I think makes it fun. And I agree with you. I think Lime Rock needs to be on the schedule next year in 2027. It's a place that is very unique. I don't think that the O'Reilly series or Cup series will ever go there just because it's camping only. It seems like, or there are no grandstands. I don't think so. Ticket sales are never going to be what they want it to be, but sometimes it doesn't need to be all about the money or the ticket sales. It's all about the fun, and I think Lime Rock puts on a great racing product. It puts on great entertainment, and I say keep it. And I people can fight us for it, but I think it's deserving. Not just because Parker Kligerman is invested in it, but I think it's a legitimate track that is worth racing at. So it was definitely a great race on Saturday early afternoon, and then we had a return to Atlanta for the O'Reilly series, and that was a Saturday night race that was very entertaining from the start. It seemed like we could not get into a rhythm at all to start the race. There were two pretty big cautions that happened fairly early, and then it was we had a couple guys. Well, a guy that didn't even start in Jeb Burton. They were under pace laps, and he came in and they were looking at his car, and I think his right side brakes were locked up and they never got it fixed, and he never turned a lap. So, a very unfortunate way for his day to end before it even started. But, um, there was a couple of guys. I guess it did, you know, there was some fluid on track early that I believe was the cause of not just one, but two of the red flags. I think the speedy dry was not picking it up correctly. There were talks of it not even being the correct speedy dry. I was listening to the PRN broadcast while I was at the track, and it sounds like I think it's IndyCar has a different kind of speedy dry than what NASCAR has. It's a little bit different. I think one of them is more sand like and one of them is more coarse. And so I don't know which one it was, but it apparently was not the correct one and it wasn't picking up the oil right. And so I think once the guys sent it into turn 3 and 4 again after the first one, I think a couple guys went up the track and it caused some issues. And they were some pretty well, they weren't long red flags, but I mean the first one was what I see it was 5 minutes and 19 seconds. The second one was 8 minutes. The third one was 8 minutes. So, it was, I lied. The first one was 8 minutes. Second one was 5 minutes. Third one was 8 minutes. Fourth one was 8 minutes. So, they weren't long red flags. It was just enough that I fell asleep during the first two and I only got woken back up by the start of the engines. But as far as what you saw from home, because I haven't watched it back yet, was it as entertaining on TV as it was in person?
When they were racing, yes, but it just seemed like every 1 or 2 laps, red flag, caution, red flag. So is this race ever going to get started? And that's been a little bit of an issue, all season is just people getting antsy, anxious, not patient, or an anomaly like just wrong materials at the racetrack for cleanup. It was tiring and exhausting after a while, to say the least. But overall, really good racing when they were going. O'Reilly series is usually really some of the best racing is on super speedways with this O'Reilly package. And Atlanta always delivers. I think it's the best super speedway out of the three. And we have a little bit of news, to share here shortly about super speedway changes that they announced I think this afternoon. But with the O'Reilly series in Atlanta, I almost want to say do it every other week. But with the red flag situation and the cautions and that can get it that's getting a little bit frustrating this year.
It is, but again, I think, like you said, whether it was the wrong materials trying to pick up the oil or not, um, I mean, I don't know what the real cause was, but like you said, the real racing was fun. There was a lot of movement. A lot of these guys were able to make moves just whenever they wanted. It seemed like if you had a great handling car, you were going to be able to put your car wherever you wanted. There were moments of 3 wide. We saw attempted moments of 4 wide, courtesy of Jordan Anderson, and it didn't work. Jordan Anderson was interviewed after the first big one, which he unfortunately caused. That he was asked what happened, and he said he went for it. he put it in a spot where he thought he could make it work, and it just didn't. And it was unfortunate to see because he was running the best out of all 3 of his cars. Blaine Perkins finished the 20th in the last car on the lead lap. So, or I'm sorry, he was a lap down, but still he was better than Jordan Anderson. But again, those that guy, he had to take a risk with, and he's not running full time either. So I don't necessarily blame him for it. But at the same time, I think you have to be a little bit smarter with where you put your car. And I as an owner, I can guarantee you, he saw dollar signs and didn't like it when it didn't work. But uh, you know, that's the nature of racing, especially at Atlanta, where the margin of error is so small that if you put your car just 1 centimeter in the wrong spot, especially when you're four wide lasts about a half a second there before somebody's in the wall or somebody's spinning or crashing. So very, very difficult end to his day. Um, Very difficult end to a lot of those guys' days in that one wreck. But there was there was a lot of action all throughout. I don't know that TV really does Atlanta justice. It's one of those tracks where you see movement everywhere across there, through the entire pack. You see guys moving around all over the place. They can pick their line almost at will. And so it was super fun to see. And a couple of guys that you didn't expect to see towards the front were had moments up there. So it was really good to see quite a few guys lead some laps, even get credited for just a lap led. So really, really good to see. We had one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine. We had 11 drivers that were credited for leading a lap. But as far as drivers that were leading at one point that didn't get an official credit for a lap led was probably about 13 or 14 drivers. So again, there were a lot of guys that had some speed that could challenge for the win. But again, just great racing in the O'Reilly series. Carson Quapple did fantastic in the one car. And even though he's not running with one singular junior motorsports car, the bright side to look at it for him is he didn't finish worse than where he started. So, I mean, I don't know if that's the best way to look at the day, but you got yourself a second place finish at Atlanta. That is what's the nice word for it? A crapshoot. So, um, it was good to see him run as well as he did. Allgaier coming away with the win yet again. He got caught up actually in one of the later wrecks. And if you're watching some of the highlights, coming around on that last restart there, he is about as well, he's as low to the ground as he can be because he's sparking. And it does help with speed and downforce, yes, but you can also damage some things that way. And I'm very surprised that he didn't. But what were your thoughts on Allgaier taking home yet another victory here in 2026?
A little conflicted. I love that he's had finally a resurgence, maybe threatening himself with a retirement sparked something under him, figuratively and literally. But I do want to see other people win. Like Retzlaff was all oh so close. Just Allgaier's he's just putting something together that I think everyone needs to pay attention to.
It's his win number 6, I think, for him in 2026 now.
Yeah, he's on track to beat Zilich's record of 10.
Yeah, they've only got 3 left in the regular season, but they're on race number 21 of, I believe it's 34. So he's still got time to do it. It's just it's going to be interesting to see if he challenges Zilich for the all-time wins record. Because what would you say? or what would your thoughts be? I know this is speculative here, but if he's able to tie it or beat it, whose season, I mean, would you say would be the better one?
I would probably say Allgaier because he has the better finish average. He's running a top. Zilich had a great rookie season, don't get me wrong. But look at his results from last year, where he finished when he wasn't winning. Not the best. I don't want. He wasn't a fluke. He's not a fluke. He's a great driver. But but what didn't help was the playoff system. That sounds weird to even say after 6 months, but that derailed his championship run. Doesn't have that to show for it. Allgaier will have that. So as of right now, if he ties it or beats it, Allgaier has the better season. But that's just me.
That's fair. A fair assessment. I as much as I don't want to agree, I mean, I I have no choice but to, only because I think, like you said, the playoff system really hurt Zilich as far as like if he would have done as well as he did in the chase format, he probably would have won the championship on points. But because it was the whole, you had to finish higher than the driver at Phoenix and this, that, and the other, it was kind of tough to see him lose that. But I think right now, just the complete and utter points domination we're seeing from Allgaier right now. At this point, was it 3 or 4 races ago that Allgaier locked himself into a chase spot? So he's currently up on the cut line. He is plus 444 points with
That's
3
impressive.
races left. I
That is
agree.
impressive. And what is he to second place?
He is up 240 on second place. Jesse Love
Yep.
right now.
Yeah, pretty much half or double to the cut line.
Yeah. It's it's unreal, and I think it's almost unrealistic to a point. But I mean, at this point in the season, I mean, with him being up 444 points and a great, list of tracks that are in the playoffs, would you argue it's his to lose right now?
It is. And if he doesn't win it, it's his fault.
So no pressure, Justin, if you're listening to this, but it's all on you.
The only other championship that, in recent years that I can remember that was this dominant and you didn't want to say anything, but you're glad you didn't, was Martin Truex Jr. in 2017 or 2018. I can't remember. I think 2017, where stage winner, MTJ, race winner, MTJ. That got a little annoying to hear, but I'm glad that Truex had a very dominant season and it was literally his to lose. And Allgaier's on that track, not in a playoff system, but in an actual pretty much full season points format. I'm pretty sure he might lock it up with 2 or 3 races left. But that's just my prediction. The way he's going and the way he's trending, there's going to be about 3 races left, and all he has to do is just start. He can come in last place, but all he has to do is just start the race, and he clinched.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want it to get to that point only for the fact that dang well if that happens that there's going to be those fans that are like, well, this is why we shouldn't have this format because they could lock it up before the season's actually over, this, that, and the other. And it's like, okay, fine, but whatever.
Most of us
Like,
fans don't care. We sometimes you're going to get dominant runs, other times it's going to be Atlanta 1992. But as of right now, Atlanta 1992 is not special anymore because that's what the playoffs were trying to recreate. That's what the Chase wanted to kind of recreate, but it became its own little bundle of, I don't want to say joy, but it had its moments to where it's like, okay, yeah, you can kind of play the system, but now that it's back, everyone can play the system now. Everyone can manipulate, I don't have to push hard here. I don't have to push hard here, but oh, these last 10, you know, gather information from the regular season, bring it into the chase format, and now I can really turn on the jets. Everyone can do that now, not just Chad Knaus and Jimmy Johnson and others. So now that it's back, we might have a couple of runaways, but we might have a lot more closer championships that are not fabricated.
Yeah, it'll be interesting because again, there's only 3 races left in the O'Reilly regular season, so it's gonna get very interesting to see who is gonna lock up those final spots, uh, to try to compete with Allgaier and Jesse Love and Sheldon Creed and Corey Day for the championship. The last 3 races in the O'Reilly series, they're gonna be Indy here in a couple weeks, Iowa in about a month, just under a month, and then the season finale at Daytona. So, Indy, obviously 2.5 miles, historic, very difficult to handle. Uh, Iowa, you could argue kind of a mixture between. I mean, it's an intermediate in a way, and then Daytona, complete and utter crapshoot. So, with the guys that are sitting around the cut line right now, I'll say from Sam Mayer, who's plus 33, he's kind of, I don't want to say on the bubble of being, safe, but he's obviously nobody is safe. But with him only being 33 points above the cut line to Sawalich down in 14th at minus 21. Raja Karuth is the first driver out at 17 below the cut line. Do you think with the 3 tracks that are left that either Raja or Sawalich can sneak their way in and bump somebody out?
Uh, you're you know that Roger Cruth is pretty much the channel's driver, our favorite right now. I like them both.
Yeah.
Let me put on my unbiased cap here a minute. I do like them both. I do want them to get in. If Junior Motorsports puts him in one car and one car only for the rest of the year, he's going to have a great points finish to the end of the year. Is he going to win the championship outright? No. But now that he's, hopped around and been in almost every single car on the grid, it seems like, or in the garage, now he's got all that experience. Put him in, you know, take out a driver that's not really, in contention per se, which it seems like all of them are. Put him in one car. You need to give him the best chance you can to get all of your drivers because they're your babies. That's your team. Now with Sawalich, he's a good guy. He's just got to start putting together better finishes. He can't lag around in the back anymore. Wins aren't going to fall in your lap. Finishes aren't going to fall in your lap. You need to kind of pick up the pace. I know he's still young, but now's your time to shine. You've got the equipment, you've got the team behind you. Start putting it together.
Yeah. Do you think he's a long shot, but I know he's one of your favorites. Ryan Sieg is minus 66 to the cut line in 15th. Do you think it would be possible for him in 3 races, Indy, Iowa, Daytona, to put together a miracle run to make it into the playoffs, or not playoffs, the chase, because the playoffs is no longer. Do you think Ryan C could make it into the chase, or is it at this point minus 66 too much of a deficit to overcome for him?
Unless he wins 3 in a row and it's going to be his first 3 wins, I don't see it happening unless everyone else above him just has abysmal 3 weeks. He might have a chance. He just got to stay out of trouble. He's got to put
That's the problem.
together. Yeah, he's got to, just like Swalach. Yes, you can finish well. Yes, you can have great races, but you have to have more of them. You got to capture a spark. You have to study your notes a little bit more. You have a team behind you. Use it, and if they are hindering you, uh, you might be out to pasture by then. But you know, there is still time. But 60 points might be probably probably pushing it in terms of who can make it at this point.
That's I would, yeah. As much as I want to see, I mean, I enjoy watching him, but at the same time, he had a decent finish at Atlanta in 16th, but his brother Kyle finished in 8th, which is a much better finish. But um, just kind of getting, not necessarily being a part of the big wrecks, but not staying as clear of them as you could have, I think has kind of hindered him. But I think 66 points is unfortunately too much. But uh, if you were to vote now, because I'm not sure on Raja's situation with what team he's on, but say he flip flops, say he goes for the last three, if he goes junior Jordan Anderson, junior motorsports, do you think he makes it into the playoffs?
No, he if unless he puts on generational run of just nothing but top fives and top threes the next 3 races, it's a little too inconsistent and not the same equipment. So, like I said, they Junior Motorsports or someone just needs to take ownership of him. I know that take it with a grain of salt. They need to say, okay, he's our driver. We want to be attached to his name when if he wins the championship by some luck or miracle. If they want him to get in, latch on and run with him. I, first first choice is Junior Motorsports, but if they can't really take him on, Tricon. Not Tricon, the other one.
Jordan Anderson.
Jordan Anderson, yeah. They sound similar when you're tired.
That's true. And the fact that Raja is surrounded by 3 Gibbs cars, he's got Swalich right below him and then Taylor Gray and Brent Cruz right above him. It's possible that you could have Brent Cruz and Taylor Gray both kind of have, lackluster weeks. So, I don't know. I'm going to vote against you and I'm going to vote yes, he makes it. Not by much, but I vote he makes it by 5 or less points, I would say. So, Walich, do you think he makes it in at this point?
The drivers above him have to fall pretty hard. The Gibbs guys above him, his teammates, that's a tough task because they're pretty good at, getting good average finishes, just finishing the race. It's going to be a tough act to follow, but we've seen drivers fall pretty hard and their season's pretty much done. So I'm going to say probably not, but if he gets in, it's not a huge bombshell.
Yeah, I would. I'll vote with you on that one. I think Sawalich out. And because I'm voting Caruth in, as much as I don't want to, I think Unfortunately, I'm gonna pull Brent Cruz out just with his lack of experience, I would say. I mean, he's still a young kid, so I wanna give him credit. He's gonna learn this year whether he makes the chase or not, but I don't think that this is the year that he makes the chase. I think at Indy or Daytona, there's gonna be something that causes him to lose his points advantage on the cut line, and he's probably not gonna be able to make it up just with, you know, the pressure that's on him that will be on him at that point, I think, but that's just me predicting here and spitballing, but you can agree or disagree with me, but I think just that lack of experience, I think, is gonna push Brent Cruz out, of the chase, and that's gonna allow Rajah to sneak in by, I would say, less than 5 points. But that's just me. Like I said, you can fight me later, but I'll be I'll be honest about that. But like I said, that was Atlanta. Like we said, we're just kind of spitballing with who we think's going to make it in. But if you guys agree or disagree, definitely let us know. Same with the Truck Series. We'd love to hear from you on that. But the Cup race, on the other hand, we definitely have to talk about that. There was a lot to talk about. We didn't mention it last week, but Austin Hill and Zane Smith got it, or Austin Hill and Shane Van Gisbergen, excuse me. Wow, I can't talk right now. They both got into it last week, and NASCAR called them both to the hauler pre-race. Or I think it was actually on Saturday. They had a conversation with them, and nobody really knows what was said, but basically, from my understanding, it was basically cut it out or else. What do you think was said in that meeting if you had to speculate?
It was probably just that about, we've heard our parents say it before. I don't know what you guys are up to, but it needs to stop. We don't know what's going on, but it needs to stop. And I think that's probably the most appropriate response because it did look like a dump, but at the same time, it couldn't, the phrase, if you do something to me, I'm going to make it look like an accident. Maybe that's what
Yeah.
happened. But then again, it's speculation. It's speculation. So I'm just going to leave it at that. I'm pretty sure there was a little bit of tension, but because no one has brought up anything about, oh, this is about you know, the couple of instances that led up to it. There's no hard evidence or proof of that. So, or there's no proof of, is it, you know, this or that or who versus who. It might have been just a whole bunch of races that came together and uh, Guggenheimer got a little upset. So
Well, and half of me wonders too, does this trans translate from or transfer from when SVG was running Xfinity series last year? Like, was there anything last year between the two of them where they got into it, or um, because I think that's really in my head. That's kind of the only reason that I could think that they would have this sort of tension is if it was something that they had done or some run-in that they would have had last year or several run-ins that they would have had last year that carried over to this year. I don't know. Um, I mean, do you think that could be a cause, or do you think it's just a couple of races this year? They're both kind of frustrated. They're both, fairly close to the cut line. I mean, I think SVG is right above it, and well, Austin Hill's not near it, but with SVG being as close to the cut line as he is, do you think that has anything to do with it?
I don't think so. There might be some, you know, old blood there, but knowing that Austin Hill is full time for the rest of the season, or it seems to be that way. Uh, Austin might be getting his elbows out just a little bit, like, what can I test? And SVG might, he might have that in his mind of, okay, if this guy's gonna if I'm going to see him every week in the series, how can I test the waters? Is he going to bring up old stuff, which it seems like might be? And here's what I've learned from other drivers in iRacing. I know I use iRacing a lot, but that's the highest tier racing I've got.
More than me right now.
Yeah, I wish I had the money to start a journey, but at this point, I just hit 31 recently, and I'm perfectly okay racing my pre-war stuff on Assetto Corsa right now. So, but anyway, what I've learned and was taught is usually rookie classes kind of go through rookie D class, E class, D, however it is. You're going to see the same people, and you might have had beef with, or even jumping from the MX-5 to Ferrari 458 Challenge or a NASCAR ARCA. You cannot bring old baggage in. You're in a different field, different playing field, different league, different setups, totally different cars. You cannot bring old baggage in. Sure, you guys might have a history. You guys might, drive similar or race similar or be around each other a lot, but you can't let it get to your head and bring in old baggage. Might be word of the week, might be on the test. But
Let me take
you
notes.
got yeah, you got to let things go. Eventually, the only time you can really butt heads is if you both are first and second every single week, taking wins away from each other, being first and second, or ninth and 10th. You can't do that when you both are mid pack.
That's true. That's true. And I mean they've only got 6 races left in the regular season to settle this. So from the understanding is Austin Hill thinks, he thinks it's done from his side, but he doesn't know about SVG. SVG is just kind of like, yeah, whatever. We'll do what we need to do, which is fine. I think at this point, just let them settle it. Like I wouldn't even care if like one of them takes out the other and boom, that's it. But if the meeting squashed it, the meeting squashed it. I'd be okay with that too. Um, but then the other one that ended up happening that was kind of a I don't know if I was too surprised about or if I was surprised or not, was between Zane Smith and Carson Hocevar. Hocevar was confused about it. He said they might need to go to couples counseling because he doesn't understand why they got called in. Zane Smith had made some comments early in the week because they were going up against each other in the in-season tournament this past week at Atlanta, and Zane Smith said something about not liking him as a human. Don't know what that was really about, but I will tell you, fans listened to those comments, and he was the second most booed driver during driver introductions this week. The most was Joey, I think just because he's Joey, but second most booed was Zane Smith for sure. Um, again, I don't know why, but it is what it is. Do you have any idea what that could have been about?
I have no idea. I don't know if something was said on a plane or, if Carson said something about his mama. I have no idea what has happened. Hopefully it's one of those things where, like Carson said, let's let's go fishing. Let's talk about it. What's going on? I thought we were decent friends,
Oh,
but it's
yeah,
just one of those things where, yeah, if there's a tournament or you know something up for grabs, like the $1 million on the line, things can maybe be taken out of context, and you can hear things that aren't really true or say things that you didn't mean. Like I said, hopefully they could just kind of get together, talk about it, and that's that. It's not the first time it's happened in NASCAR or any racing, and it's not going to be the last. It's just It's just loud right now.
Yeah, and you're right. I think it's just that, and I think was it Jamie Mack and Jeff Burton both kind of laid into him. I think was it pre-race or was it during the rain delay that they had again, I was at the race, so I don't know exactly what was said, but something was said about if you're gonna say these things, if you're gonna talk the way that you're talking, you need to be able to back it up. You can't just say what you want to say and not back it up. Like you have to be able to go out there and win. You have to put together the wins. Yeah, excuse me. You just can't just go out there and say random things. You have to, or say these out of pocket things, if you will. You have to go out there and back it up. And
If you're
is
going to talk the talk, you better walk the walk.
I mean, do you think he's been walking the walk, or do you think that um, he's just talking the talk right now?
I think he's talking to talk just because you have a win and you're getting good finishes. Sure, that can get you somewhere, but you're jabbing your jaw more than putting up points and finishes right now. So if I was Carson, I would maybe pretend you're Ross Chastain in 2023 and in 2022. Just self-reflection. Maybe tone it down a little bit. Just regroup. Start walking the walk. Just shut up. Put your nose to the grind. Maybe lay
And
off some of the midnight Twitch streaming on iRacing.
gotta love it when he does that, though. It's
It,
always
it's
pure entertainment.
it is entertaining, but at the same time, if you're trying to focus on something else, I nothing's free. If you're sacrificing one thing, for a gain. Something's got to give.
Yeah,
At the end of the day, he needs to start putting up results, or just don't talk at all.
fair. And I think this weekend was definitely proof of that. I mean, he talking all the talk, and he finished third, which was a great finish for him, nonetheless. Especially since at the last super speedway they ran, Talladega, he won. But coming in third for him, he was running in the top five, top 10 pretty much. Well, not all day, but a decent chunk. He was running very well. He had a fast car along with his teammate Daniel Suarez. They both had very fast cars, and unfortunately, Suarez didn't finish where I think he had the speed. But you know, a guy that just could put that car wherever he wanted to was Ryan Blaney. And we had talked about last week how the Fords didn't seem to be like I think you had even said you didn't see a Ford winning, but here we are, and Blaney swept the stages and led 171 of the 263 laps. What was the statistic we saw? Something about this being the most laps led at a drafting track since Richard Petty,
I think so.
or the highest percentage, I think is what it was, which still is incredible because you think about all of the super speedway races that have happened since then. I think it was 64, wasn't it, or 63?
I think 63. Yeah, I could be wrong.
But either way, in whatever that is, 63 years, the amount of races at super speedways we have seen, and this to be the highest percentage was incredible. I mean, Blaney could put that car wherever he wanted to. It seemed like he could just kind of go in whatever lane he wanted to, whenever he wanted to. He could run either lane. He could block. Even when he wasn't in the lead, he was able to put together runs. It seemed like very easily and at will. So they found something in that car that worked out very well. He was able to get all the points but one this week. He won stage one, stage two, and the race, but he didn't get the Xfinity fastest lap. That one went to a very surprising driver. I don't know if you saw who earned that distinction.
Yeah, it was Cody Ware.
Somehow Cody Ware coming in on a super speedway to upset somehow in some way, shape, or form. And I had actually put out there on social media, I said, so we can't say he doesn't have a fast car. I mean, so what's the deal? But uh, it was very interesting just to watch the complete domination. It seemed like Ryan Blaney had, and I mean, it was rather impressive to see the racing that was going on. We had so many green flag passes and just passes in general all over the track. There was one pass that created a lot of controversy that somebody wanted to appeal and unfortunately was told he couldn't. Bubba Wallace there on the last lap saying he got shoved or saying he had to let off and he got forced down below the yellow line and was on the brakes. You as a sim driver, again, I feel like I ask this every week, but what did you see from your perspective? Even first of all, as a sim driver, but two as a fan, what did you see on that?
As a fan, I saw him, go below the line. He advanced his position at some point. As a sim driver, I saw him trying to avoid, bumping into the back of somebody. Because when you get bumped, it's not, sometimes it's a little one and you want more. Other times you want a tiny little bump and people jump you up like 20 miles an hour. I'm pretty sure that somewhat what happened was he got a good run, mistimed it, didn't want to hit anybody, and moved out of the way. Now, let me get on my little Monday morning pit box here. Instead of a soapbox, it's a pit box. Bubba, listen to me, sweetheart. You're my favorite driver, but dude, you went below the line. You advanced your position and you didn't slow down one bit. I get it. It's the last lap, but come on. You just take it on the chin, move on. It's not that big of a deal. You got a penalty, whoop de doo. Could have it ended worse or better? Yeah, but just no, you can't jabby jaw like that. Take it on the chin, go home, regroup. There's always Daytona. Just don't do it at Daytona or I'm going to yell at you again. Okay, I'm done.
I mean, going from what looked like a third place finish down to 29th is definitely demoralizing, but sometimes those things happen and the yellow line rule is there for a reason. And I get he was trying to say, look, go and look at the SMT data. I was on the brake the whole time. Clearly, your car does not show that in reality. I think just based off of the eye test. Now, if you claim you're on the brakes, obviously you would see the entire pack go way by you because the way that those cars run when they get you're just the one car in line. You would see everybody pass you, but again, I'm no SMT guy. I don't know nothing about nothing. We're just average Joes, but you know, you, that was definitely a penalty, definitely advancing your position. So very tough way to end it, but it was a great, entertaining race all race long. Um, Despite the penalty there from Bubba, the race to the checkered was fantastic with Carson jabbing his jaw all week, if we want to call it that. Uh, when he was coming to the line, nobody was pushing him. Do you think if he wouldn't have opened his mouth so big this week, would somebody have pushed him to the finish to help him maybe win? Or do you think it still would have been that way regardless?
He might have had one person probably jump on and push him, but I don't think anything would have changed even if he got all the good brownie points. Now, if he had a hell of a run, I don't care if I got beef with you or not. I might want to be in front of you. I want you to push me, but I don't think it would have made a difference. I'll
That's fair.
quote Mark. I'll quote Mark Martin, and I'll agree with him. I love the guy, but I don't want to be on the track with him.
It's a good point. It's a good point because he's one tough cookie to race against, that's for sure. But I mean, he had a great points day. You can't go wrong with that. 39 points, getting some stage points in stage one as well. That moved him up to eighth in the points now. So he's got a pretty big cushion over the cut line right now. Another guy that had a good points day that needed it was Shane Van Guggenheimer. I almost want to change his name on the graphic just for giggles, and I might just do that next week. But he stays constant though at plus 27 on the cut line from last week. So, a sixth place finish to one of his best, if not his best, oval finish. So, uh, props to him for running as well as he did, and definitely, definitely helping his case out for sure. A couple of other guys that had some good runs. Eric Jones was the third highest placing Toyota that was not a JGR car. So he definitely deserves some props as well. He was running up, I would say, top 10, top 15 for most of the day, or most of the night going into early Monday morning. So great run for that team. They definitely need it. They are currently plus, what is that, 8 over the cut line right now. So it's very, very close. Um, but you know, um, they're definitely putting together a run that they need to help keep them above the cut line for sure. But it's going to be close coming down to it. They've got 6 races left after Atlanta. They've got North Wilkesboro, Indy, Iowa, Richmond, New Hampshire, and then Daytona. Now, I want to touch on Daytona real quick because this was a topic of conversation this past week in general. Because Daytona is no longer the 4th of July race, I want to get your quick thoughts on it. Where do you think that NASCAR should race on the 4th of July, if at all?
Why don't you go first? Because I think mine's bombshell.
Okay. Well, I would say one of two places. I think Road America would be cool because we were there for the 4th of July weekend back in 21. And that was a ton of fun to watch. I think just being, you know, at a place called Road America for the weekend of the 4th, super cool. Um, I don't think they need to go to Daytona for the 4th. The reasoning uh, that I've heard and we've all heard, I think at this point, is just the tourism. It takes away from it prices out some of the NASCAR fans that want to come for the weekend, and then a lot of the locals obviously don't want to. They don't know it's there, so there's that. But I would say one of two places again, either Road America or if it's based on the way that things run, just pure entertainment and racing, I'd say Chicagoland. Those are my two. I mean, Chicagoland produced a great race this year. I wouldn't mind if they went back. But those are my two choices. I want to hear the bombshell, and I'm going to try to act surprised because I genuinely don't know.
Run the All-Star race on 4th of July weekend. Here's why. If you're going to rotate it, why not have it as an exhibition event right before the fireworks? 2, if it's an exhibition race, do you really need it on a Sunday? Do you really need all the toys and bells and whistles for, you know, pre-race, post-race? It's supposed to be a fun event for money.
Yeah.
And 3, oh, I blanked. I blanked. Shit, I blanked. I blanked.
Okay.
Don't worry, the bombshell's still coming.
You'll think of it.
Yeah, don't worry. You'll have to you can splice it. Um, did I say number 3 and number 4?
You said number 3.
Okay, and number 3. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. And number 3, you can, if it's an exhibition race, you can run it literally on the 4th of July. You don't have to have a dedicated day anymore. You can run it in the middle of the day or right into the evening, and you have fireworks afterwards or a big party in between.
It's true.
I know I'm probably the only one on this boat, but if I go down with it, hey, it's just a suggestion. But I think they should run the All-Star race on the 4th, have it rotate. You can have it on literally the 4th. You can have it in the middle of the day or, like I said, the evening, and just have fireworks afterwards. It doesn't need to be a Sunday event. It does not have to be, no, in May all the time. It gives, it gives, it could be an all-star race at a weird track that NASCAR almost never goes to. Like, for example, the Barber Park in Alabama, or they can go to. I think there's one here in Utah. There's a small little oval that they can run on or something. I don't know, go exploring. But that's just me.
Go to Sebring.
There you go. Well, not on 4th of July. No,
No.
that's I don't think they want the drivers boiling in 120-degree heat.
Now they already boil enough midsummer races anyway. We don't need to be doing that to them, but could be fun to see them explore.
Well, we all know the winner gets the glory at the end of the day, but not every story ends in victory lane. Some performances deserve to be hung on the fridge, others you'd rather kick to the curb. Welcome to Fridge or Trash. Who is your fridge driver for the truck race?
I'm gonna go with two, uh, only because I mean I one of them is not a full time driver. Well, actually, both of them are not. But I'll go with three. I'll go with three. One full time, two non full time drivers. One, Landon Lewis, finished second. I mean, kid that doesn't drive full time. He definitely proved himself on a road course. He proved why they put him in that 45 truck for the weekend, and he did it well. Second one, I don't want to shout out Parker, but I'm going to shout out Parker anyway. Not just because he owns the track, but he knows how to drive it well. And then third is Colin Braun, coming back after however many years and finishing 10th. Can't complain one bit about that. If you had to pick if you had to pick a fridge or several fridge drivers or performances from the truck series, who would you pick?
I was really impressed with, let's see if I can pronounce his name, Andres Perez de Lara.
Sounds about right to me.
That I'm not going to try to put on an accent because that's apparently offensive if you do it or not. Came in 7th. I was very surprised to see him up there majority of stage 3. And Stuart Friesen, after spinning out a couple times, being down in the dumps for a little bit, coming home in 9th, I'm very impressed.
It's a good choice.
Yep. Going on the other side of things, I couldn't pinpoint exactly because you and I try not to pick on drivers that wreck really bad, unless they wreck, unless they're 10 cautions in a row. I'm gonna go with Lane Riggs as my trash driver of the week. Yes, he won. Was it both stages?
Just stage one.
Oh, just stage 1. Okay. Then he was up front for a little bit, and then just disappeared off the face of the earth. I don't know what happened with the front row drivers today. It was just not their second half of the race.
Yeah, it was a tough look for them. I'll say mine would probably be Jake Garcia. Again, I know we kind of crap on the Thor Sport guys sometimes, and it hasn't been their year really, but I don't know, something about Lime Rock didn't do him any favors either. I mean, he was, if you want to look at it on the bright side, he was the last truck on the lead lap, but that really doesn't mean a whole lot. I mean, it was a tough day for them. He scored some stage points in stage 2 just based off of strategy. So I mean, the strategy helped him out, but at the end of the day, just not the day they needed. And I mean, with their point situation being the way that they are right now, they're currently looking at um, where did I see them at? They're 17 below the cut line right now. They're tied with Stuart Friesen, but Jake Garcia is anyway. Um, it's not the week that they needed. Going with 4 races to go. So hopefully they can turn it around. But we'll turn it around here, and we'll go with the fridge drivers for the O'Reilly series at Atlanta. Who you got for them?
Now, just like all super speedways, there can be weird anomalies or anything. With drivers that are usually 30th, 31st can sometimes end up second, which is great and all. But the ones that impressed me throughout the entire day came in 11th, 12th, and 13th. Maggio, Balicki, and Staropoli, especially Staropoli, however you pronounce his last name. I've heard Starpoli, Strapoli, Staropoli,
The eye
Ravioli,
doctor.
Patrick Ravioli.
Or do we want to call him Chef Boyardee for the rest of the year?
Sure. But Maggio, Balicki, and Staropoli, I was very impressed to see them pretty much mid-pack, if not towards top 10 all night. You gotta go look at the cars while sitting at a red flag, I tell you. But it was really nice to see them not wadded up or blown up.
Yeah.
Now onto my trash driver. I've tried to stay back, but I'm gonna kind of use him as another soapbox pit box Monday morning pit box opportunity. Sam Mayer. It just seems like either he has an okay race, but if he gets in trouble, man, is it always heartbreaking to see him hitting a wall or getting bashed up or run into just when he's just trying to have a nice, quiet, good day. Something, it's like someone's got a little voodoo doll, voodoo car, just putting pins in places that just ruin his day. I just I just feel awful. I hope he gets 1 or 2 wins in the next year or two, just to say I belong here. I'm not just a punching bag, and I can do more than just kiss a wall.
Yeah, especially after starting out on pole. I mean, he was looking really good, and then unfortunately getting caught up in that accident late. Um, just kind of unfortunate. Um, Staying on that low uh, in the dumps here for a minute for um, drivers that you throw their performance in the trash. Um, you know, I I don't want to really say anything bad about any drivers that were involved in an accident, but everybody outside the top 21 was involved in an accident, so it's kind of hard to, say you had a bad day when you finished in the top 20, but I mean, Sammy Smith, he had a great car all day. He qualified up towards the front as well, and just unfortunately late in the race, being caught up in some things, uh, pit road incidents as well. You just kind of you get stuck back in traffic and can't do anything about it to fix your day. So, um, it was good that he scored stage points early because he definitely needed that, but not a good finish back in 18th. But the driver I would put on, well, I got a couple. I actually told them to their faces because I got to meet them this week. Both Parker Retzloff and Anthony Alfredo. Again, I almost want to bar myself for the rest of the season from putting them as fridge drivers, but having both of them finish in the top 5 was great. I thought Parker potentially had a win there at the end. Just coming off of 4, it looked like he was going to get a good push, but unfortunately, Allgaier with all that extra downforce and scraping uh, came away with the win. But Anthony Alfredo again coming away with a solid 5th place finish. And then one honorable mention, I gotta give Garrett Smithley in the number 0 an honorable mention as well. Again, he only drives part-time for SS Greenlight, but finishing 6th at a super speedway when they're not necessarily the strongest team on any track, really, if we're 100% honest, but being able to put something together that, um, was a very respectable 6th place finish, like you said. I mean, great finish, and then, he's teammates with Josh Bilicki, so can't complain one bit about that either. If we had to go to a fridge driver for the Cup Series, who would you put up there?
I'm gonna do 6th and 7th. SVG and Austin Dillon. Now they both had kind of a quiet, 2/3 of a race. Ryan Blaney, SVG, Austin Dillon. Their naps were fantastic. I wish I had naps like those to get
I'm right
finishes
there
like
with
this.
you.
I must. I do have to admit, I watched all the way until they started giving us Wipeout reruns with John Cena, and then as soon as they took the choose, one to go, right before pretty much the rest of the race, daughter and I fell asleep. But I woke up and it was like 10 minutes after the race. I'm like, no. Luckily, whoever was on. What's nice about rain delays is the NASCAR YouTube channel had the highlights up about 10 minutes after the race. So I got on, saw the 13-minute highlight reel, and watched the end of the race. And yeah, seeing them up there, not lucking their way up there, that was really refreshing to see.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, I think those 2 for sure had a great day. One guy that, I'll put on my fridge was the most booed driver during driver intros, Joey Logano. Finished 9th, and he qualified on the front row. He had a ton of stage points in both stages 1 and 2. Again, he needed the points for the points day. He got it. They had fast cars. Whether that's gonna translate to the next super speedway at Daytona, we don't know, especially with the rule changes that are coming, which we'll talk about here in a second. But, he definitely needed that points day for sure. If there was a driver that you had to throw away their performance or have them forget about it this week, who would it have been?
Mm, I'm going to have to say Daniel Suarez. Normally he's decent at super speedways. He's usually up there 10th to 15th, but a 21st place finish, yeah, I think that's just sweep it under the rug. I, take as much data as you can, but I would throw this away, dude.
For sure. He definitely had a week that, you definitely wanna forget. I don't wanna put Larson down there, but I'm gonna put Larson down there for my, performance to throw it in the trash this week. Granted, he spun through the grass and, um, had his incidents, but, 34th and a couple laps down is not where you wanna be, and I know he's solidly in the top 5 in points right now. Where is he at? I forget. I just looked at it. He's I lied. He's 6th in points, but he's far enough up where he's fine, but you wanna be in the top 5 realistically, at the end of the season, and he just couldn't get it done, unfortunately, but kinda tough luck when you get into it, but, um, yeah, it's Atlanta. What are you gonna do? I mean, things happen, and you never know the way that the race is gonna end, but we alluded to it several times, this upcoming, uh well, it's actually the last race of the season, so it's coming up here in just over a month. Daytona, they've got a slight rule package change. They're cutting the spoiler down from 7 to 4 inches, and they're also reducing horsepower. They're hoping it helps with the single car runs, but then it shouldn't affect the overall pack racing speed. I think they said it was about 3 to 5 miles an hour difference on single car runs versus the pack racing. So we'll see if that has any effect. We'll see if the Penske guys can use what they had here at Atlanta to carry that momentum with them the next super speedway we go to. But um, it'll be interesting to see that rule change. The next race we've got coming up this weekend is actually going to be at North Wilkesboro, which I will be at. So if you're there, feel free to say hey. I'll be kind of just floating around all day. So if you see me, again, just feel free to say hey. But looking forward to North Wilkesboro real quick. We've got the trucks on Saturday night, and then the Cup Series on Sunday night. Uh, is there anybody you're keeping your eye on as far as drivers to look for that could potentially steal a win? Guys that can use this race to improve their points position, or are we just going to look at the same old contenders on short tracks up front?
Preece. Look out for Preece.
I thought of him too, and I don't know why. Actually, I do know why. Bowman Gray comes to mind.
That was my first thought. Now, that was more of an exhibition style race, but I don't know. There might be what was it, like 29 degrees there, and Wilkesboro might be, feels like 120, so we'll see if he's the weatherman.
We'll see. You never know. It could be a waning gibbous or a waxing gibbous, whatever the heck it is, and Briscoe could end up pulling out a win. But I don't know. I kind of want to go with Preece on this one as well. But um, I also think of guys like Josh Berry's a short track guy. He could potentially do well. Not that he's going to end up doing much better, but I think it would be a good stepping stone for them, regardless. But I agree. Keep an eye on Preece. He's going to be one to watch. But then also, I half wonder too about some of these. I just lost the team name. Why did I lose the team name? The Legacy Boys in Eric Jones and John Hunter. I wonder how much they can use their joint top 20 performances to build on that on a short track. But we'll have to see how that plays out. And like I said, I'll be there this weekend. Hopefully, if the internet's great, I'll be doing live tweets, live updates, live race updates. But if not, I'll try to post as much as I can, just not in thread form like I usually do. It's probably going to be sporadic, but we'll see how that goes. But yeah, like I said, definitely if you're there, feel free to say hey, um, and feel free to share, comment, like, subscribe, all the good stuff. Uh, leave your thoughts down below as well. We'd love to hear from you on anything we talked about on this episode. We'll be back next week, much earlier in the week, if North Wilkesboro actually finishes before 3 a.m. on Monday. But like I said, we'll be back next week, and we hope you enjoy the action at North Wilkesboro this upcoming weekend.